Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host Eric Smith, and in the interest of full disclosure, I just want to say that this is a review that I recorded yesterday, and thinking about it, I'm not really happy with the quality of that review, so I'm doing it again. I already posted that original review, but I'm going to take it down and put this review up instead. Hopefully this will be better. I'll be more satisfied with it. That being said, the book I'm reviewing is The Bear Who Wouldn't Leave by J.H. Moncrieff. It's from Samhain Publishing, and it's part of their Childhood Fear series. As with the rest of those books, it's only a novella. It's around 70 or so pages long, so I don't have a physical copy. It's only available in digital formats. If you want to check out that creepy cool cover, again, just go back to the image at the beginning of this video, and you can see it there. So, The Bear Who Wouldn't Leave. This is a story that's being told by Joshua Leary, and he's a 10-year-old boy still dealing with the unexpected death of his father, and also dealing with his stepfather Michael, whom he does not get along with. So, in what seems to be a bit of bridge building, but really isn't, Michael gives Joshua this teddy bear named Edgar, and this is a really creepy teddy bear. Joshua does not like it at all, so he hides it in his closet, buries it under some dirty clothes, and goes about his day. And apparently Edgar doesn't like this, because when Joshua comes back to his room to go to bed that night, Edgar is sitting on the bed, and of course Josh figures his stepfather came in and dug the bear out from his closet and put it on the bed, but Michael makes him sleep with the bear in bed, and Joshua he does it that first night, but he can't take it. He tries hiding the bear again. Edgar doesn't like being rejected, and this leads to all sorts of problems. So that's your setup for this story, and this is a really fantastic story. There's a lot of depth to it, which kind of surprised me, and not because I think horror stories should be, or generally are, shallow. I don't expect that at all. I'm a huge fan of horror, and I know there can be a lot of depth to a horror story. I think simply because this is only about 70 or so pages long, I didn't expect such a densely packed story. I mean, there's a lot going on. As I said, Joshua's dealing with the unexpected death of his father, and he's 10 years old. You know, he's a kid. Kids have issues, and the death of a father can be a big one, and then dealing with his stepfather, who he really does not like, and he's pretty sure Michael doesn't like him, and I'll get to that, a little bit more of that in a minute. So Joshua's dealing with that, and then he's got to deal with this bear, and he's trying to be supportive of his mother, but he still wants to be a kid, you know. But so a lot of depth, and part of that is the relationship between Josh and Michael, which ends up being an abusive relationship. There are some seriously frightening things that Michael does. Just horrifying in the realness of it, and that really adds an extra punch to this. And perhaps it hits a little close to home, not the abusive part, but when I was 15, my father died unexpectedly, and I had to deal with a stepfather coming in. So I can relate, even though I was 5 years older than Joshua is in this story, I can relate to where he's coming from. So there's that going on, and Michael is just such a creep, a well-written creep, but just a monster in his own right. And there's actually, up to a certain point in the story, it's really not clear whether Edgar the bear is actually an evil toy that's angry at Josh for rejecting him, or whether it's just Michael kind of gaslighting Joshua, messing with his head and abusing him in ways that aren't as obvious as the blatant abuse that is shared with us in the story. So that's a lot that's going on. Great characters. This story is so well written. I'm not familiar with Ms. Moncrieff's writing. This is the first thing I've read by her, but I'm definitely going to have to find some more because I was really impressed with this story. A lot of really good characters, a couple of minor characters. You have Mrs. Brinklemeyer, one of Josh's teachers, and Dr. Harvey, a psychologist that Josh is sent to after some incidents. In the middle of the night, a few times during the middle of the night, parts of the house are trashed, and Josh is blamed for it. Of course, he says that Edgar did it, and while his mom backs him up in front of Michael, of course she doesn't believe that a teddy bear is doing this, so Josh has to go see Dr. Harvey. And Mrs. Brinklemeyer, Dr. Harvey are very good, I think, believable characters. And when it comes to abusive relationships and stories, sometimes I find it difficult to maybe understand the person who's being abused. I've not been abused. I've not been in that type of relationship with anyone. So for me, it's sometimes hard to wrap my head around the excuses that people will make. But maybe it's because Josh is just a kid, just a 10-year-old boy. I really bought into his reasoning, why he doesn't tell anybody what's going on as far as Michael goes. Of course, he's not telling anybody that he believes Edgar's doing things because he figures they'll think he's crazy, but he doesn't want to tell anybody about Michael either. And I really believe his reasons, and I buy his behaviors. And Mrs. Brinklemeyer, being his teacher, pulls him aside. She knows something's wrong. She and Dr. Harvey both are there to hear what's going on, and Josh can't tell them, and I buy it. You also have Sean, who is a friend of Josh's, and I like this kid. He's a good character. And, you know, when Josh and Sean are together, it made me very reminiscent of my own childhood. There's a scene where they're riding their bikes before some craziness happens, when they're just two kids riding their bikes, that to me felt authentic. I'm like, yeah, that's what it was like when they're hanging out together, just playing and ragging on each other and being 10-year-old boys. For me, that was real. And Mrs. Berry, Sean's mother, another kind of minor character, but again, a very, very good character, someone else that wants Joshua to open up, and again, his reasoning for not opening up is something that I can understand. But these three adult characters are really, they're good people. You get a really good sense of who they are, which is a sign of strong writing, especially in a story that's so short, only 70 pages. I haven't mentioned Joshua's mother, Eileen, and all the characters are just so, in this short amount of space, are so well written and so well rounded. And I think that Eileen is another one of these. I mean, she's a recent widow. She has a young son to take care of. She's married a man that she really, come on, she shouldn't have married him. I'm not spoiling anything here. But she feels trapped in this situation. She has a son to raise. She has bills to pay, things to take care of. And she feels maybe it's not the most modern, feminist viewpoint, but she feels she needs Michael to help keep the family together, to keep them supported. And there are women like that in the world. It's not every woman can be a feminist icon, because not every woman is a feminist icon. but she is a strong character. I'm not saying that she's a weak woman, that she's a negative stereotype. She's a well-rounded character. She has her strengths and she has her weaknesses. And again, in just 70 or so pages, to build these characters that have so much to them, I think is a real achievement. So obviously, I thought this story was fantastic. I love killer toy stories. Dolls is a great movie. I love the Puppet Master movies. Trilogy of Terror, the Zuni doll part of Trilogy of Terror is my favorite. I love the Zuni doll. So a killer teddy bear story is right up my alley. And it really, aside from all the other stuff that I've already mentioned, there was some really creepy, scary stuff going on in here that doesn't involve an abusive stepfather. The stuff that involves Edgar just is really creepy, and it's a horrifying story. So I highly recommend it. Got my rating right here, and I don't think it's going to come as a surprise to anyone that I give this 5 out of 5 creepy teddy bears. There you have it. Just an absolutely fantastic story. As I said, I'm going to find some other things written by Ms. Moncrieff and check them out. If this is the caliber of her writing, then I think I'm gonna have a new author, a new must-read author. So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover this time. When I recorded my review yesterday, it was incredibly vague, and there were so many things I didn't cover that, thinking about, I felt I wanted to talk about in this video. So I believe I touched on everything. Just great characters, fantastic writing, a creepy story, horrifying in two different ways. The horror of the abusive stepfather, and then the horror of the killer teddy bear. Really a 1-2 punch. This is the third book in Samhain's Childhood Fears series that I've read, and I really enjoyed the other two. You can check out my reviews on those, but this was by far my favorite. Just a great read. I suggest you pick it up. I will have links for the book in the description below. I'll have a link. You can get it directly from Samhain. I'll have a link so you can pick it up at Amazon if you choose to. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. As always, the comment section will be open for spoilers. Just please be polite. Post a spoiler warning. And please like, share, and subscribe. And as I said, I think that covers it. So this has been the Low Budget Review Show. I have been Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.